Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. I believe this is episode 14 now. As you can see, here with a very special guest. If you guys like the NBA and if you guys are on TikTok, I'm sure you've seen this guy by now. The one and only Matthew Sponhour. How's it going, my man?
Good. I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being here. It should be nice. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I think the first one that we're going to hit on is probably the thing that's been in the news for the past several weeks now. Everyone's been
hmm
anticipating the return of Klay Thompson. He came back against the Cavs, had a pretty solid game. His ups, his downs. The other night against Memphis, kind of the same thing. But I mean, I'll ask you first. Like, what did you see from Klay Thompson in his first few games back?
I think the big thing with him is like, okay, he's had two major lower body injuries, and when a guy has stuff like that, it's going to take him a little bit regardless to get back into the groove of things. He hasn't played real NBA basketball in like 1,000 days, right? So I'm not even worried about the shooting splits or any of that. He's on super limited minutes. You just want to see that he's moving well, and I think he is moving well. It doesn't seem like he's scared to get hurt again, because you can't play like that. If you play like you're scared, you're gonna get hurt. You're more likely to get hurt. It's still too early to tell exactly how good he's going to be coming back, but at this point, the Warriors were already contended without him, so it's all gravy, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that he is moving pretty well. I will say though, like one thing I noticed is I think the jump shot maybe looks a little different right now. I think part of that is just because he's his first few games back. So I mean, we'll see eventually over time. But like you said, like he's not scared of obviously having the ACL and the Achilles. He doesn't seem scared at all. I mean, I think like one example would be like well, Gordon Hayward, like now he's playing a lot better, I think, with the Charlotte Hornets, but that first year back with the Celtics, he probably looked a little bit scared, at least in my opinion. Um, but Klay, like this is something that like we haven't really seen ever before. I think maybe the closest thing in recent history, like two serious injuries, is probably like John Wall, and I mean he's not even playing right now, so I don't know. But yeah, I think he'll be huge to the Golden State Warriors. I think that having him, and he doesn't look like he's really lost a step defensively. Of course, it's only two games, but I mean, it's just going to make the Warriors better, to put it simply. Having him, the development of guys like, Poole and, Gary Payton II, all those guys, Otto Porter Jr. is playing like a refound man. I'm a Bulls fan personally, so I'm kind of bitter at Otto Porter Jr. because he wasn't doing much with us. But like the Warriors are going to be a good team, and uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you got anything else to add there about Klay Thompson.
I mean, the Warriors are kind of on a down streak, at least as far as the Warriors go. They've lost four out of their last seven or so. Um, and I think with Klay coming back, it's not only he is trying to work back into things, but the Warriors are trying to figure out exactly like who is sitting, whose minutes is he taking. I think they played like Lee like 30 minutes last night against the
Yeah.
Grizzlies. Um, so and you've got Curry in a slump too. So the Warriors are kind of in a maybe a little bit of a transitional period, but they've got a long time to figure it out. And again, even if somehow Klay Thompson was so bad that he was a negative player, which I think won't happen, uh, he can't hurt the Warriors. It'll only be good. I think being an off-ball scorer the way that he is, and the defense that he provides, as long as he's moving well, I'm assuming the shot will eventually start falling for him consistently again. So I'm not worried about him at all. I think the Warriors will get out of this slump eventually, whether that's through Curry shooting better or Klay coming back to form.
Yeah, the one good thing I will say is that like, Klay has returned now as opposed to maybe closer to playoff time. Guys like Kawhi and Jamal Murray, like if they're gonna come back,
Yeah,
that's probably like when it's gonna be. So it's gonna be harder to get those guys integrated. The Warriors, they have several time or a lot of time to figure it out. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you want, we can move on to another guy who has just returned, not really from injury, but obviously a completely different scenario, and that is Kyrie Irving. He's only playing away games currently, but I will ask you like, what do you think about Kyrie finally getting back on the court?
I mean it's a big deal for the Nets. I kind of wonder how seriously they take the regular season. They're one of the favorites, but they're so ridiculously injury prone. Especially, Harden was the one guy you kind of trusted to stay healthy, and even he's not really the Iron Man he used to be. So you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie and Harden who are all injury prone. So I wonder if it's just I feel like the intensity isn't there for them a lot. But with Kyrie, I mean, the question is like, okay, you know what he can do. You know how ridiculous their offense is if they have all three of those guys. Even if James Harden is taking a little bit of a step back this year, but it's like, when is he going to be able to play? And my prediction is that come playoff time, he will be playing every game. I think with the pandemic, people have we're getting to the point, because I don't know if you saw that report where they were talking about how Kyrie might be able to play in Brooklyn and just take a fine.
Yeah, I just saw that
Um,
right before. I mean,
and then
what do you think about that though?
the fine's $5,000. He's not playing for $5,000. It'll be $5K a game. I mean, how many games do they have left? Maybe 67. Like I don't know. However many, if you count the playoffs too. Who
Yeah,
cares? Who cares about that amount of money? So I think, it's not official yet, but I think he'll be playing all the time. Come playoff time, I don't think he'll get vaccinated at this point. He's already done his thing, but um, Brooklyn will do what they can to get him on the court in the playoffs. So it's a big deal for the Nets, and their defense is better than it was last year, so it makes them scary.
yeah, and I will say like I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about like that report because I just saw it like I think what was it like an hour ago? I think it broke or 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
ago or something. And I don't even know if like Shams or Woj just touched on it. So until that happens, like usually I'm a little skeptical. But uh, you know, like you said, like if that is the case, then yeah, it would be great to have him in home games. In terms of him just for away games, I think it does give them like an extra edge in the sense where it's like, okay, you play the Nets in Brooklyn, and you're probably going against Kevin Durant. You're going against James Harden when he's out there. He's missed several of the past few games, but then you add a guy like Kyrie Irving on the road, and it's almost like some of that home court advantage kind of like dips down a little bit. Um,
Yeah, well,
well, no,
I
go
think the
ahead,
thing
go
with
ahead.
them too is like, um, you can get it done with two of those guys. You can get through the playoffs with two of those guys. And like I said, they're super injury prone. So having Kyrie back is obviously super valuable when you have all three. But I think the real value in it is like, if Harden misses a couple of playoff games, you're not down to just Kevin Durant and nobody else. Or if
Right.
KD misses a game, you're not down to just Harden and nobody else.
Yeah, I think having two of them for sure, like they'll be able to compete. I mean, I think they can definitely get it done with just two of those guys, no matter if it's Durant, Kyrie, Durant, Harden. Now, Harden and Kyrie maybe not so much, but I don't know. Like, I mean, they'll still have a chance. Uh, I mean, they're still a playoff caliber team with those two. But my point is, like, the Nets, I mean, when they constructed this roster, I think they constructed them with the idea that they're going to be like a big three and have three superstars, and that their big three will outplay any other big three probably 99% of the time. And right now, we haven't really seen that. Part of that is because, Kyrie Irving's been out. And really, the only reliable like depth that they've had all year long has probably been like Patty Mills. Some guys they've been a little streaky, a little inconsistent. Some guys have been in and out. Uh, but I don't know, like if he is back and he's able to play both home and away games sometime soon, you get James Harden back. Kevin Durant's playing like an MVP candidate. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat that team. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just with them too many guys. I mean, I think the thing about having a big three like that and three guys who can score and facilitate like that is how are you going to catch them all on an off night? You need to
Right.
you can't. Someone's going to be hot. Someone's going to be playing their best basketball. If you got three guys who can take over a game, um, and if you're in a series with them, you need to figure it out 4 times out of 7 against them. It's just tough. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, I don't want to discredit like the Bucks, but I mean, of course, they were down 0-2 until like the injuries started hitting the Nets as well. So even for them, it was tough. But I don't know if they're all there, going to be a hard out in the playoffs, and that's a fact. But let's move on and let's talk about a team that's not looking so great right now. It's the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, they made the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and right now they're 17 and 22, and they're 12th in the East. So
where does that put? Okay, they're 12th in the East,
Yeah,
and they're 2 games back from even being the 10. That's tough.
yeah, they've been really bad, especially as of late. But what do you think? You think like they got to make some moves, or do you think they just got some personnel to figure out?
I don't know, dude. Their defense is just awful. Their defense just stinks. They kind of remind me of my own Hornets, where the offense is great, defense is brutal. Um, and I'm not blaming Clint Capella, but Clint Capella, when the Hawks were like really going last year, was playing some of his like best basketball he had ever played. Right, he looked like a top 5 center in the East, or
Yeah,
not in the East, in the league for a time. Right, and now he is not playing the absolute best basketball of his career. And if he is not doing everything on defense, especially with Hunter out, nobody is doing anything on defense. That defense is brutal. Um, what the solution to that is, I don't know. Hunter is supposed to be coming back soon. I think. I looked at a report today. But getting him back, I think, will do a lot. Maybe there's a move there, but the Hawks were ahead of schedule last year, right?
yeah.
So I would not make a panic move unless you think it's going to work out long term. Like I'm totally down, switch it up, get some more defense. But if it's just to try to, squeak in the play-ins this year, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
And that's fair to say. I will say though, like the one thing that surprised me about the Hawks, like at the start of the year, is that, and this even applies really to Trae Young. I mean, he's been playing a lot better recently, and he'll most certainly be an All-Star. But I think to start the year, everyone was on the Hawks was kind of playing down from their standards last year, except for maybe Cam Reddish. That was kind of about it, like in the first month or so. Um, and now, like you're at this point where John Collins, who he's kind of hard to predict, I think personally, because last year it seemed like he was having some problems. Now this year he's like frustrated again, but he signed that contract in the summer, so I don't really know what to think with him. Uh, you got, I believe Bogdanovich said something like uh, they're just not a good team right now, and Trae Young saying like how he hates losing and losing sucks and losing does suck. But I'm looking right here, so against top six seeds in each conference this season, they're 5-13, and against teams in the play-in or better, so like top 10, they're 9-18. So that means they're 8-4 against those teams at the bottom. That's pretty bad for a team that just made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. But yeah, were you gonna say something?
I kind of wonder. I'm not I'm not a believer in like trying to take away from where people make it in the playoffs because you get there, you earn it. There's always some sort of factor, who you play and
Yeah,
injuries and whatever. But I think the Hawks got really hot at the right time, and then they played the Knicks, and Julius Randle collapsed, and then they played the 76ers, and Ben Simmons collapsed, and they still just barely squeaked it out over the 76ers. So maybe back to Eastern Conference final. Like they got a lot of things to go their way, and you need a lot of things to go your way to go on a playoff run, right? But I think maybe the expectations were just set a little bit too high for this Hawks team, and now they're not all together, and the defense isn't there. I've seen some people suggest a Ben Simmons trade, and I don't know if that's the
yeah.
solution. Um, but you got to do something to get better on defense. I just don't know if they have the defensive personnel.
I compare it kind of to, and like you said, I don't want to like take away from them, but I compare it kind of to an old Hawks team. Like remember when the Hawks were the 1 seed in the East, that one year in
Mm-hmm.
2015 with like Millsap and Horford and them. But I think people realize like, the real conference finals that year in the East was probably like the Cavs and the Bulls. Like whoever won that was probably going to move on to the finals. I think the same thing, last year, like with the Bucks and the Nets, people were like, okay, this is the Eastern Conference Finals. Nobody really cares about the other side. And even then, Philly was still expected to win that series. It was more so they lost it than the Hawks won it. But again, I don't want to like take away from that. I feel bad saying that, but I don't know. It just seems like that was kind of the case. Like they were kind of poised
So if
for. Oh no, go ahead. My bad.
so if you were the Hawks, what would you do?
If I were the Hawks, well, you got to do something. I think that's for sure. Guys like, see, I believe one of the biggest disappointments this year for them has been Lou Williams, and I don't know who's really going to take him at this point because he's kind of old and all that stuff. Guys like him, maybe you could throw in Gallinari, although he's been playing a lot better recently. Uh, John Collins. I think these are probably guys that you might want to put on the trading block. And I don't know exactly what the move would be. See, I'm not really sold on like the whole Ben Simmons trade idea, but I don't know. Do you have like a trade idea in mind or no?
I can't say that I do. That's why I asked you. It's tough. I mean, you probably stick with Capella, even though he's been maybe not playing his absolute best basketball. Or he's playing. He's still playing well, just not at the level he was playing at a ridiculous level um, last year when they went on their run. I think you got to find. I mean, you got to find some sort of way to add defense, and maybe Hunter coming back really solves a lot of their problems. But with Trae Young being a liability on defense, that's fine for what he provides on offense. Like I don't think it's that big a deal. But you need to build around it. And right now, they just have no way to hide Trae Young on defense. Um, I mean, the best defensive player who could be traded for right now outside of Simmons is Miles Turner, but I don't know if that doesn't really solve their problems. I don't think, and you already have Capella, so I don't know if that could work. I'm trying to think of somebody else, um, but I'm blanking. I think it's a really tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it's a weird mix. I guess the one good thing though is that, their main core for the most part is still relatively young, except maybe, just Clint Capella. And even he's not really that old. He's probably like around the prime age of like a typical NBA player. So I don't know, like I think something will probably happen at the All-Star break. I don't know if it'll be a huge move, but uh we'll just have to see, I guess. Um, but yeah, do you want to talk about some of the All-Star Game voting returns, some of that news?
I did just do my All Star ballot. I've got my
Oh,
full All Stars here. Um, I don't have all of them picked about who's a starter and who's a reserve, but I think I have the list. But yeah, let's talk some All Stars.
I wanted to personally hit on like two things with you. So,
Mm-hmm.
with the voting returns so far, and I know this is all like fans and stuff like that, but right now, like we got Steph Curry leading the West and the NBA. We got Kevin Durant leading the East. Uh, so I guess like what I will ask you though, because the past few years, I think ever since the new format, LeBron has been a captain. Like, do you think this might be the first time that he isn't a captain?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and a lot of it just has to do with what team is really hyped up right now and what fan base is really trying to get their guy to be the captain. Um,
The Warriors.
so I don't think LeBron will be the captain at the minute. I think it'll be Curry in the West, and that's fine. It's not a big deal. Um, Nobody's going to look back on this season and think less of LeBron because he wasn't the captain, because the fans didn't vote him in. Uh, so I get I just don't have a big problem with whoever gets selected as captain, as long as it's not something totally ridiculous like Andrew Wiggins or whoever has maybe more votes than they should right now.
Yeah, I don't think really even LeBron cares, to be honest, because I mean, he's done it for like the past, what, 4 years now, 5 years now. So, that's probably just like extra time to do whatever. Uh, but no, I think, you're kind of right. Part of it is just like who's kind of hot right now. Obviously, the Warriors have been one of the best teams this year, and the Lakers, not so much. But I was surprised though, because like, in the ballots, like you still saw like AD getting a decent amount of votes. You still saw Westbrook in there. Even Carmelo Anthony was in there. Like the Lakers fans are definitely putting their votes in, and especially with how LeBron's been playing recently. I mean, we'll have to see the second voting returns, I guess, for that. But I don't know. I was kind of surprised that he was still not leading the West. But again, like the Warriors, their fans are gonna put their votes in for sure. I think Klay was like fourth, and he hadn't played a game yet up to that point.
Yeah, yeah. It's less about Lakers fans not showing up to vote. They are. It's just I think the Warriors probably have a little bit more hype right now. Curry's got a lot of hype, and then Warriors fans are. I mean, they've got Wiggins up there, Draymond Green's up there. I'm pretty sure Clay's up there, Curry's up there. So they got four guys who they're really hammering with a lot of votes. Lakers have the same thing. They're four with Melo and AD and Westbrook.
Yeah. And I will now ask you about. you know, obviously there's a lot of young guys playing really well this year. So, do you think, like, who do you think could be in contention maybe as a first-time All-Star this year?
As a first time All Star, I mean, John Morant, I believe he hasn't been an All Star yet, so John Morant would definitely be there. Garland's got a good shot. Van Vliet's got a good shot. LaMelo's got a good shot. Those are the guys that are really standing out to me right now. From my list, those would be the guys who I'd probably have as in contention for first time All Stars.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I think three of them should be for sure. John Morant, he's just playing incredible this year. Fred Van Vliet, I believe you just said him too, but I think he's got to make it. And then I don't know if you said Jared Allen, but I think he also needs to be up there. And then guys like Garland, I think he has a very good chance of making it too. Guys like LaMelo Ball, Dejounte Murray's playing pretty well, so we'll have to see if he ends up getting the nod. I feel like he's kind of poised to be snubbed, but I don't know. Like he very well could. And then these other guys that are young. See, this is the good thing about the NBA because there's so many young guys that have played like so well, especially this year. And I don't think these dudes will be all stars like DeAndre Ayton and Tyler Hero, but they're still playing like really well. And who knows, like if right now with Portland, obviously Dame isn't playing, CJ is out. He's been out for about over a month now. If that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity was presented for Anthony Simons all year long, we'd probably be talking about him in the same breath as like some of these other guys because he's played well over the past like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, he's had a really great hot streak. Um, Jared Allen is definitely up there too. That's maybe the one guy who I left out of my list who I would think about putting in. As far as Murray and Ingram go, that's a tough one because I did it. I did my ballot, and you've got in the West they'd have to get over somebody pretty serious. I think maybe the path to them getting in is if they let in Paul George, and then it doesn't look like Paul George is going to be able to play for a while. So maybe they let in Paul George knowing he can't play, and then they get one of them in as like an alternate. Um, but a lot of that also comes down to sometimes you are playing like a top 24 player, but you're not a top, six guard in the West or whatever.
Right.
And that makes it tough to get in.
And I mean that's why you see some people sometimes they'll miss the All-Star team, but they'll make like all NBA team. So yeah, I mean I think this year though, I will say like I guess to close out this topic, but I will say though it is kind of weird this year because like you said, like Paul George, guys like Anthony Davis, like I feel like all these guys are gonna be back by the All-Star game, but they've missed like a decent amount of time, so I don't know if they'll like actually make it. I feel like that makes like the All-Star predictions a lot more harder this year. But what do you think about that?
I think they'd prefer. I mean, like I don't know. Paul George not being able to play the All Star game probably makes it even easier to let him in. He was a for sure lock to be an All Star before he got hurt. You let him in, and then you're basically not taking up a spot to put him in, and that kind of makes the decision easier on you, even if that is kind of cheating a little bit. As far as Anthony Davis goes, he was just playing terrible when he played, and now he's missed a bunch of games. I think he's got no shot. Um, outside, I'm not 100% sure how the fan voting works on that. I'm pretty sure it's only for the starters, but I can't see him making the All Star. There's plenty of other players that put in over him. Yeah, now it's not saying I think the other players are necessarily better than him, but if we're going off just how these guys have played before the All Star break and just how much what they're doing right now, AD was in a pretty bad slump, one of the worst of his career beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to offend any like Laker fans or AD fans, but personally for me, like I didn't think he was deserving of being an All-Star, like prior to his injury, anyways. But like the media, the players, all those guys, they're still gonna give him pretty solid respect, being like one of the best players in the league, and I believe he's been an All-Star like the last 7 years or something. So I mean, he'll definitely have that on his side. Um, but yeah, if you want, we can move on to the NBA trivia. Are you ready for the trivia game?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the rules. So basically, I'm gonna give him 5 questions. Each one has 5 possible hints, and for each question set, you get 3 guesses and 2 skips. If you guess correctly in less hints, you get more points. So say you only use 1 hint and you get it right, you get 5 points on that question. 2 hints, 4 points, and then it keeps going from there. So that makes 25 possible points. And at the very end, I have one final impossible level question. That one you get no hints, just one question. Something about me with the NBA. So yeah, you get all those right, you get 30 points. But are you ready for the trivia?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start off. Here's the first question, the first hint. Now, again, you
Hmm.
get 3 guesses and 2 skips on each question. So the first hint is this is a current NBA player that was a 2-star prospect after high school.
Is it Jimmy Butler?
It is not Jimmy Butler. Uh, okay, so that's your first strike. You get 3 strikes on each question. But I'm going to move on now to the next hint. You get this right, you get 4 points. So this guy, he wears the number 0 to represent all the places he went through his journey at making the NBA.
Oh, I feel like I should know it by now. It's not. It's not. This is gonna kill me.
So he's a current player.
0.
He wears number 0. Um, and like the
All right, let me.
places. Oh, my bad. What were you gonna guess?
This is killing me because I have heard that story and I just cannot remember the player associated with. Let me get the next 10.
Okay, so the third hint is this guy holds the record for most 3-point shots made in a playoff game in NBA history.
Dude. See, now it's at the point where I should know it, and I don't.
So he's number
I'm
0.
so what kills me is that I'm terrible with jersey numbers. I never remember what number anybody is.
Yeah,
Um,
that is pretty hard. I won't
so that
I
makes
won't
it
have it.
tough. A 2-star, wears 0.
Yeah, 3-point shooter.
I'm gonna need the next one.
Okay, all right. So the fourth hint, chance of 2 points here. Now this guy off the court, he's known for his rap albums and discography.
Oh, is it Damian Lillard?
It is Damian Lillard.
Yeah, I
Um,
should have known that. All right,
so
but at least I got it. At least I got
yeah,
it eventually.
at least you got it. You got 2 points. I always put a goal to try and get 10 for my guests. So right now you're on pace. So
How recent was that Dame 3-pointer record? That was like
it was
very recent.
it was this past
No, it wasn't.
playoffs.
Yeah, it
Remember?
was this past dude. It was yes, it was against the Nuggets. Yeah, I watched that game.
Yeah, that was the game
Um,
where he was going crazy. Um,
Brutal.
but all right, so you got 2 points so far. Here's the second question, the first hint. Now, this is a former NBA player that made
Hmm.
multiple All-Star teams, but he only made the NBA Finals once.
Multiple All Star. I'm gonna need the next 10. That could
Okay.
be a ton of
Yeah,
guess.
that's a hard one. So the second hint, chance of 4 points. This guy was the first overall pick in the 1991 NBA draft.
1991 draft. Multiple All Star teams. Only made the finals one time.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of who made the finals. Did he make it or did he like lead his team?
Uh, I'll say he made it. It would be
Okay.
hard to classify a leader on that team, I'd say. But yeah,
Is it Sean Kemp?
it is not Sean Kemp. That's a
Was
solid
he even a
guess,
first
though.
overall pick? I was
I,
thinking maybe Supersonics. Um,
I mean, he was
but
around that time for sure. I don't think he was the first.
where was I got to look this up. When was Sean Kemp picked?
I think he probably was a high pick, probably like
He,
fifth, sixth.
no, he started playing way before that. I feel like he was 89 and he was a 17th pick. Okay.
Oh, 17th. Okay, I was
Yeah.
wrong on that. Um, okay, so the third hint now, chance of 3 points. This guy, he
Mhm.
also played one of the 5 Monstars in the original Space Jam.
Oh. Well, let me just it is
thinking?
Okay. Oh, it's Charles Barkley, right?
Are you
No,
guessing?
Barkley. No, 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 no. I'm not guessing. I'm
Okay.
not
All
guessing
right.
Barkley.
All
I'm
right.
done.
All right.
Because Barkley was Barkley got drafted before then, before '91, way before '91, right?
I cannot
No, you
reveal that
can't. You can't help
information.
me. You can't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Muggsy Bogues. That much I know. Um,
So you got
is it Larry Johnson?
it is Larry Johnson.
Okay.
That's pretty
Okay.
good. I put that in there intentionally because you're a Charlotte Hornets fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He'd see my friend. I always remember Larry Johnson. Well, I remember of Larry. You know, I think of Larry Johnson as a Hornets player, and Hornets have never made the finals or the
Yeah,
Eastern Conference Finals. So
and he made it with
yeah,
the Knicks that one year. I said like there wasn't really a leader because like I think Ewing got hurt on the way there, and then it was kind of just like a bunch of solid players. Um, but yeah, the next hint was going to be that his nickname is Grandmama, so you probably would have got it from
yeah.
that.
I would have. I think I would have got it before that or
Okay,
with that.
so right now you got 5 points. Here's the third
Mm-hmm.
question. First hint. This is a former NBA coach that was named to the 1996 list of the top 10 coaches in NBA history.
I'm probably gonna need another hint.
Okay. So the second hint is before his coaching days, he played in the NBA and has his jersey retired with the Boston Celtics.
Is it? I'm trying to think of top 10 coaches of all time.
And obviously,
Um,
playing, he was pretty good for the Celtics. So,
he had to play. Now Larry Bird coached, but it was after. It was after '96, I think. Or if he wouldn't have been a top 10 coach of all time either. Um, I don't think. Um, is it Danny Ainge?
it is not Danny Ainge. So it's only,
Danny Ainge coached, right? I'm not making that up.
I think he might have back in the day. But yeah, I mean, that's only your first strike, so you're still doing pretty good. So the third hint is this guy was the head coach of Steph Curry in his rookie season.
Oh man. See, what kills me is it's just a little bit before my time. I was like 8, so 8-year-old me did not know the head coaches. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know when I started paying attention to like all the head coaches, but it was not when I was 8. I'm gonna need another hint, dude.
Okay, so the fourth hint is as of today, this guy has the most wins of any coach in NBA history.
I was looking at this literally yesterday because Greg Popovich is within striking distance of getting it.
And that's why I said as of today, because who
Played for the
knows?
Celtics. Great coach. Coached Curry. I can't think of it.
I'm trying to see. I think so. You have one strike, so you can like guess freely. I think on the rest of this question.
I can't think because I'm too stuck on thinking of like Celtics players. When I mean he probably if he has his jersey retired. Man, I am still not sure. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You could also just take a strike and move on to the last hint if you don't know, but
I mean I just I can't say that I have anybody who I'm. Yeah, I can't say that I have somebody who I even have off the top of my head.
you want to move on to the last hint then?
Yeah, why don't we just get another hint?
Okay, so the last hint is this guy, his son, was the GM of the Mavericks when they won their title in 2011.
His son was a GM of the Mavericks in 2011. Yeah, dude, I just don't know. I can't think of the name.
You don't want to throw out a guess?
I don't have a guess.
Okay, so the correct answer, and you'll probably be kicking yourself, it was Don Nelson.
Don Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the toughest one, I'd say, of the five. Sometimes I mix it up. Sometimes I go in like order of increasing difficulty. But
I hope so, dude, because that's a brutal miss.
yeah, I mean, and especially the last hints, I think on the next two are a lot easier too. So here's the fourth hint, or the fourth question, the first hint. This is a retired NBA player again, who
Hmm.
was the GM of the Nets when they had guys such as Drazen Petrovic, Derek Coleman, and Kenny Anderson. So that was kind of like in the 90s era.
So he's a retired player,
He is a retired player.
was general manager of the Nets.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna need another hint.
Okay, so the second hint is until Malcolm Brogdon did so in 2016-2017, this guy was the most recent second round pick in NBA history to win Rookie of the Year.
When was he playing? When was he playing?
The guy
And
you're
like
trying to guess?
yeah, and like the this must have been a while ago.
Well, he definitely was playing before his time as a GM, so sometime before
Yeah,
the 90s.
man. Yeah, dude. I can't say that I know.
You want to use another skip?
Sure.
Okay, so the third hint is this guy is one of 12 players in NBA history to win the Finals MVP award multiple times. I will say too, he did it with the same team.
With the same team, multiple Finals MVPs, GM. Is it?
And he's definitely old. So there's that.
Dude, I got to brush up on my NBA history.
So
Okay,
this
I'm
is
trying to
hard
figure.
trivia, I will say, but
General manager of the Nets in the '90s, multiple Finals MVPs.
with the same team before that, sometime before the 90s.
This, well, it's got to be on a team that won multiple Finals,
That is true. It
which is
is.
a lot. It's a lot. Um, because when you can be a general manager like any age. It could be somebody from like the Celtics, right?
It could be. It might be.
Celtics is not a bad, but see, which Celtics are we talking about? Because like the '80s Celtics or like the '60s Celtics?
Well,
Um,
I will say too. So the first Finals MVP was Jerry West, and that was like in
oh yeah,
'69.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah, I'm
You could throw out a guess here. You have used your two skips if you so you can kind of freely guess on this one if you want.
I, I I'm leaning towards it being Celtics. That's what I'm. That's what I'm set on because I know the '70s had a lot of you could reasonably have played for those Celtics teams, but Larry Bird didn't. I mean, he won a fair amount of Finals MVPs, so I don't know. And it wasn't Larry Bird because Larry Bird was coaching the Pacers at one
Also,
point, and then he was general manager of the Pacers.
also remember from the
And,
second hint, he was a second round pick technically.
oh hell, he was second. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, Second round pick. You're killing me, man. Um, I can't say that I know. I can't say that I have a good guess.
Do you want to just move on to the next hint? Or
Yeah.
okay, so the fourth hint is this guy had an iconic return from a thigh injury in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, where his team ultimately won the title. So think about players, and obviously he was Finals MVP in that series as well.
No, that was oh man. What that wasn't that I cannot remember the guy's name, but it was like I felt like it was like a Knicks center, but that couldn't have been the case because the Knicks didn't win multiple finals. They won 73, and that was it. But I know who you're talking about. I just cannot remember. It's like that center, I think, that came in and like only like hardly played because they were real. But maybe that wasn't. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Um, okay, so I last week I gave someone credit for, or no, 2 weeks ago I gave someone credit for the Dwayne Casey question. So because of this, and that you know who it is, I'm gonna give you credit for this on the two-pointer. It was Willis Reed.
Willis Reed.
Yeah.
I don't. I won't take the fake credit because I don't think that name. It wasn't like it was just on the tip of my tongue. I just
So
I know the name, but I knew the story, not the name.
how about this then? I'll give you 1 point on this question because that was a
All right,
two-pointer.
I'll take 1 point.
Um, okay, so right now I'm
Wait,
trying to think. So you got
Willis
six.
Reed for what team?
It was the Knicks.
The
They,
Knicks won multiple. Oh, because they did. When were the two Knicks wins?
well, you
Seven.
knew 73, and they also won in 70.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So all right. So the fifth question. Now I think you got 6 points right now. So
Mm-hmm.
the first hint on this one is this is an NBA team that has had the first pick in the NBA draft 4 times in franchise history.
4 times. Okay. Um, you got to be bad to have the first pick 4 times. Because you got to get pretty lucky to get it. I'll go ahead and guess the Cavs.
It is not the Cavaliers.
All
Um,
right.
okay, so that's the first strike. Here's the 4 point hint. Their old mascot used to be a rabbit.
Their old mascot used to be a rabbit.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never heard that in my life. Um, or they're like a current NBA
hmm
team. This isn't.
They are a current team. Their mascot uh, is not the same as it once was. So it's not quite a rabbit.
Used to be first pick 4 times. If I went through the NBA teams, maybe I could get it, but I'll just take another hint.
Okay, so the third hint is this is one of the 5 franchises in NBA history to win a playoff series as an 8 seed.
One of the 5 franchises as an 8 seed. Well, I remember the Warriors doing that very specifically, but the Warriors haven't. Maybe they have. Because I don't. You could have the first pick a bunch of times way back when, and I wouldn't remember it.
But the real question is, did they have a rabbit as
Were
the
they the Rabbits?
mascot? The Golden State Rabbits.
Um, man. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and guess Warriors because I need to guess something, and I know they've done that.
Well, unfortunately, it is not the Warriors. Um,
I got one.
so that is strike number two. Here's the 2 point hint. Now, unlike the Warriors, who have the best regular season record for an 82 game season in franchise history, or in NBA history, this team has the two worst win percentages in NBA history for an 82 game season.
Oh, I was about to say.
So, like the Bobcats, like they have the worst ever, but that was a shortened season.
Yeah, it was lockout. First pick 4 times.
Now,
Nets.
I will say, like, if you don't know it, you might want to be careful and skip because you'll probably get the last hint. It's pretty easy.
I hope. Used to be. I'm stunned I've never heard that. That a team used to be the Rabbits.
Well, no, their mascot was a rabbit.
Mascot. Okay.
Yeah, so They might not. They might not have been called the Rabbits.
Yeah, I was about to say. Because I like looking at those old logo. So
Yeah.
people all the different logos and whatnot.
I don't want to see. I don't want to throw you off, but I think they had the rabbit as their mascot about like 10 or so years ago, or 15 years ago. It was kind of recent.
Was it?
Uh, yeah. So it was kind of recent, but I don't know the exact date of that, so I don't want to like throw you off there.
Gotcha. All right, I'll take the last 10. I'm getting this one.
Okay, and I think you will get it because their team motto is to trust the process.
Oh, the 76ers.
Yeah, it is the
Okay.
76ers.
Okay.
It was around like I think it was like the end of the Allen Iverson era, or like I think when he
Mhm.
like just came back for that 1 year. I think that might have been like when they changed it or something. Uh,
That makes sense because they were bad for a long time. And when did they win as an 8 seed?
in 2012 against my Bulls. Remember when Rose got hurt?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
it still haunts me to this day. But okay, so you got 7 points right now, and
Hmm.
now there's a bonus question. Now this one, there's no hints. It's just basically
Hmm.
a random shot in the dark. So are you ready for the bonus question?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the bonus question I got for today is I have an autographed framed picture of an NBA player, could be past or present, and I have it
Hmm.
hanging in my bathroom at home. Who is that player?
Hmm. Well, you're a Bulls fan.
That
I
is true.
feel like this wouldn't be the impossible level question if it was just Michael Jordan,
That's
right?
a fair assessment. That's a fair assessment.
Um, so I'll go with a Bulls player. I mean, it could be anybody, but that you being a Bulls fan, I got more of a lead on with that than anything else. Um, I'll go Derrick Rose.
Unfortunately, it is not Derrick Rose. You were in the on the right track saying it was a Bulls player. It actually is Nikola Mirotic when he was a rookie.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
That's I'm not mad at see the other I was gonna guess like Joakim Noah next or someone like that, or
yeah,
maybe Dean, but I wasn't guessing Mirotic.
yeah.
So
Mirotic is a hard one. I mean, he had one solid year with us where he was like really good. Um, but not like other than that, he was kind of just like a role player. But yeah, I mean, well, it also I will say like with the picture, it's kind of cool because it was his rookie year, and like Boozer was on the Bulls before, but I think at this time he was on the Lakers, and he was like in the background of the picture. So technically, if you would have guessed that, I probably would have given it to you as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think you did pretty good on the trivia. I will tell you, you did not get last, so that's always good.
I'll take not last. The one that I'm upset about is Don Nelson. I literally looked at it the other day.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's tough, man. But like I say, like I tell everyone this, like this isn't like all like actual NBA trivia. Like, dude, it's like who knows who has the mascot of the rabbit? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like vague. Um,
I feel like if that was like 10 years ago, or maybe if it was just a little bit more recent, I would remember it because I feel like I don't know. Honestly, you might be able to trick me on who has what mascot. I can't say that I could name all the mascots outside of the big ones.
the only one I care about is Benny the Bull.
Yeah,
That's
that is maybe the most popular one. So, there's some teams that don't even have mascots, right?
well, the Lakers don't, and the Knicks don't. The Clippers recently got one. But I don't know. I think that might be it for teams
I
that
think
don't.
having a mascot's more of a college thing.
Yeah,
I think it's more of a college thing. As a pro, and there's at least in the NFL, it's like okay, there's a lot of room. There's not much room for a mascot
yeah.
on a
Oh,
basketball court.
well, did you see the other day? Like even when the Raptors
Oh yeah,
Stadium,
yeah,
like with
yeah.
Devin
The
Booker.
Raptors mascot, based off Devin Booker.
No, that was funny though. But yeah, I mean, again, I will tell everyone that this is basically the end of the show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. You got any final thoughts, final words of wisdom?
I'm really hoping Miles Turner finds his way on the Hornets. That's the big trade I've been campaigning for. And vote LaMelo Ball for All-Star, even if you don't think he deserves it. He plays for my team, so he does.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually made a video about the Hornets like 2 years ago, and I said like they need to get Miles Turner. Like I think that would be ideal. Now like the rumors are coming back. Um, but nah, man, go check out Matthew. I think you're almost at 10K on YouTube, which that's pretty amazing. And you guys know that he's always grinding on TikTok as well. Uh, but yeah, I'll have his stuff in the description. Feel free to check him out. But again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we're out. Peace.